Hi everybody, welcome to Ed Paras TV, and now we're going to talk a little bit about diet for those who want to lose weight. So first thing when it comes to dieting is you have to make sound food choices. So when you go to the supermarket, like I mentioned in another video, you want to shop around the perimeters of the supermarket, because if you go into the aisles, that's where all the food-like products that I don't consider to be food are found. So the aisles are just for like light bulbs, cleaning supplies, and things like that, and the occasional dry good that can be cooked and is actually a whole food. But aside from those, you don't want to be spending a lot of your money on the aisles, because they're just going to bring you into a state of disease, and you're just going to be piling on the pounds. So if you want to lose weight, first things you got to consider is, what is your target weight? Where do you want to be? What is the weight that you want to be at? So when you discover what that is, that's how you're going to be able to gauge the number of calories that you can consume. So once you have a good understanding of the calories, then you have to also keep in mind how many grams and how many milligrams of certain elements that are in the food. Like for instance, 1 gram of carbohydrate is 4 calories, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. And so you can start to tally up your calories by counting the grams on the food labels. And you have to try to learn what portions are. So if you don't have a label, what it's going to do when you have that understanding in your head is you're going to be able to size up a plate and know exactly what's in it without having any kind of reference. So it's good to memorize. You can see that online with charts. You can start to memorize the quantities equal to what. For instance, 3 ounces of chicken equal how many grams of protein, and so forth and so on. So it's good to get in the habit of start to memorize what they translate into in terms of grams versus calories. Another thing to keep in mind is your activity level. How active are you? If you're not that active, it's time to step it up. You need to be taking at least 10,000 steps a day. Consider the founders of this country, for instance, were walking 30, 40, 50,000 steps a day. That was before we had all this technology, but nevertheless, it's still a healthy habit. So there's no reason you shouldn't be taking at least 10,000 steps a day. And when it comes to training, you're going to have to really include a lot of things. By that I mean, it's not just cardio. You hear people doing cardio. And cardio is good for weight loss. But if you really want to speed up your weight loss, get into some weight training, because the presence of muscle is going to help you burn fat 24 hours a day, even when you're sleeping. So that will help you. Another thing too that you don't want to be discouraged by is what happens when you look on the scale, when you weigh yourself. The scale doesn't always tell the truth, because if you're putting on muscle, then you're going to look, you're going to first of all be heavier, because muscle weighs more than fat. But you're only going to know the truth when you start taking measurements around certain parts. For instance, if you're lifting weights and doing cardio and eating right, most likely your waistline is going to get smaller, but your legs and your arms might actually get a little bit bigger at first, because you're putting on muscle. And before all the fat starts burning off, you may think you're getting an increase in measurement from body fat, but it's not, it's muscle. So as long as you're doing everything right, trust the process. Don't worry about what the scale says, okay? Another thing too, if you want to lose weight, is get into the habit of intermittent fasting. By that I mean is after dinner, count at least 12 hours, preferably 16, but 12 is still good, before you have another meal. So during dinner, you enjoy that meal, but you're not going to have anything else until the following day. And that'll be ideally 16, maybe even 18 hours later. For some people, it'll go as far as 18 hours with the intermittent fasting. I've heard of even more, but no need to be that extreme. Even 12 hours does wonders for the body, because you're giving your digestive tract a chance to rest. You're giving a chance for all of the cells to rejuvenate from everything you've eaten during the hours that you're actually eating. That's when those nutrients get to work, is when your digestive tract is asleep and resting. So keep that in mind. Another thing to keep in mind as well is the hydration level. You want to drink lots of water, and not any of these other natural juices. You're going to see, fruit juices labeled 100% natural, but still, because it's been packaged, it's probably been pasteurized, and all the nutrients are killed, and all that's left in it are useless carbs that you don't need. Speaking of carbs, you want to cut them out as much as possible. And if you are going to eat carbs, keep them for early in the day, because the carbs that you don't burn, remember carbohydrates turn to sugar in the blood, the carbs that you don't burn are going to be stored as fat, most likely. So one of the diets that I highly recommend for people who are trying to lose weight, it's not a fad diet, it's a diet that actually works. It's called a ketogenic diet. And at first, it may seem a little bit overwhelming because you're going to be cutting out practically all carbs. But you'll be surprised when you Google the ketogenic diet and Google the recipes, just how delicious these recipes really are. For instance, the ketogenic pizza is just to die for. It's so good, you wouldn't even know that the dough is made from cauliflower. Yep, but it's just like the regular dough. It's absolutely delicious, and I guarantee you will not be disappointed if you eat a cauliflower pizza. Another thing to keep in mind too, if you're trying to lose weight, is the frequency and the consistency of your weight training, because cardio is not going to really be enough. If you really want to speed up the process of losing weight, then you want to do some weight training, and you can break it up into 3 days a week. That would be a full body on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Or you can do it 4 days a week, splitting the body into 2 different sections. For instance, on a Monday, you would do legs, back, and biceps. On a Tuesday, you would do, say, chest, shoulders, and triceps. On Wednesday, you would not do either of those. You would just take that as a rest day, maybe do some abs and stick to the cardio. On Thursday, back to what you were doing on Monday. Legs, back, and biceps. On Friday, back to what you were doing on Tuesday, chest, shoulders, and triceps. And then on the weekend, off. That's a tried and true method right there. Guys back in the 50s and 60s, before the drugs hit the scene, were all doing that, and they had tremendous physiques without any of the performance enhancing drugs that you see most of these celebrities and athletes today taking. So that's something you really want to keep in mind, is consistent weight training, because putting on muscle goes really far towards getting you towards your target weight faster. So when you're counting your calories, remember, always aim for your target weight. Look up what your target weight is and in relation to the number of calories that you should be consuming, and that way you'll have a higher success rate with your dieting. So intermittent fasting is one of the things that you want to try. I really highly recommend it. You'll be leaner in no time. It'll release the growth hormones that will keep you lean and will make you stronger to recover from your workouts. The activity level, at least 10,000 steps. Remember that back in the 1700s and before that even, people were walking 30, 40, 50,000 steps a day. So 10,000 steps is really a joke for people back then. But it's the absolute minimum that I would say is acceptable. Okay, the body type, if you are a mesomorph, which is somebody who is pretty square and can put on weight or lose weight easily, then you should lose that weight in no time. If you're an ectomorph, which is somebody that was once maybe thin as a rail but put on weight and is now trying to lose it again, then you'll probably have success right away. The person who's going to have the hardest time is going to have to be the most disciplined are the endomorph type people, because they are naturally more rotund and naturally have a slower metabolism. So you're really going to have to step it up. Do lots of cardio. Make sure you're consistent with your weight training. Make sure you're not breaking your diet as often. You're not getting those cheat days in as often as someone else. So you have to be honest with yourself. Honesty is key, and stay away from all the junk. I myself, I eat a lot, but I don't eat junk. My friends will tell you, I eat like a horse, but I don't eat junk. And I'm not putting on any unwanted weight because I train first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. So I highly suggest that you do that. If you're trying to lose weight, train on an empty stomach, because, and first thing in the morning before breakfast, because it'll make your metabolism for the rest of the day start flying. And once your metabolism's flying, you'll be able to enjoy food a lot more. You'll be able to eat more quantities of it without worrying about putting on excessive weight. If you're trying to lose weight, again, I suggest take a look at the ketogenic diet. you'll be surprised at just how delicious some of those recipes really are. And you're going to be cutting out the carbs, but you're going to have really healthy fats and lots of vegetables, and the meats that you might enjoy will still all be there. So don't worry. I mean, at first it may be a little shocking. The first 2 weeks of anything that you do differently is an adjustment period. Even for myself, if I try a new workout, it takes about 2 weeks before I start feeling like I'm getting stronger. So a 2-week, 3-week adjustment period, allow yourself that, and you should start from that point on seeing some kind of result. Okay, if you're being consistent in your training, consistent in your diet, staying hydrated, drinking lots of water in between meals, not during a meal. You don't want to dilute your stomach acids after, maybe 20 minutes after a meal, 20 minutes before a meal. Up until that point, you don't want to be drinking. 20 minutes before a meal until 20 minutes after a meal. Don't drink anything. Don't drink with your meals. You'll dilute the stomach acids, and that'll just slow down your whole ability to reach your goals, whether it's trying to lose weight or whatever. You don't want to do that, because the efficiency of the body then is just watered down, literally watered down. The stomach acids won't get to do what they're supposed to do and break down the food and send it to where it's supposed to go accordingly. Okay, so keep all of that in mind, and we'll talk more about dieting next time on Ed Paris TV. Please like, subscribe, and enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys soon.